Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Making the Rounds, where we select certain shows, topics, and other things that have been making the rounds with us as a group, whether they're new or just revisiting them with old friends. And today, with Making the Rounds, is probably the best slash worst thing that we've ever reviewed, depending on your outlook. It is Monster Musume, a ecchi anime where basically monsters are treated as foreign exchange students, and they come to live with the rest of us in society. The main character, we'll call him Darling, for lack of a better term, because I don't remember his actual name, is forced to host this pseudo family of monster girls, and titty hijinks ensue. With me today is Chaosmana and returning guest Mclovett.
Nee, darling.
Mclovett, I want to point out, is the vector that infected the rest of us with the show.
I am.
So I'm going to actually toss it off to his review first.
Oh, well done. So, yeah, the story is, it kind of reminds me a little bit loosely about like Rosario Vampire, which it's also another harem anime, but like the whole monster human thing, that kind of stuff interests me. So yeah, some of the parts, like if you can look past the boobs, and I mean it's kind of ridiculous to say that, but if you look past the boobs, like you can get like a pretty nice, cute story. One thing I did find interesting though is that like after the first episode, is that it kind of like deviated away from having plot points on Mia, or like having a story kind of based around the main character and Mia. I'm not just saying that because she's the best waifu. Because like most harem animes, you seem to usually have the main character and one girl. I just found it interesting to kind of like go with every single girl. Now the favorite parts, spoiler alert, when she, I think it was regular water. Yeah, she drank the regular water and then she like turned into Godzilla to fight the plant monster. I found that part pretty interesting. How they beat the plant monster was kind of weird with him nursing on it. And later on in that episode, they have her like absorb. Wait, I think that was later. They had Sue test like which mushrooms were poisonous, which ones weren't, and she got like a toxic personality after that. And I think Wub said like when she drinks salt water, she gets like super intelligent. The music is amazing. At least the opening and closing are. They're really, I can't help but just keep listening to the opening. The ending is just, it's really unexpected since you have hard metal with boobs and girl laughter. And the ending was really well animated, which...
All right. Is very good, Mclovett. And I'll pass it off to Chaos, because when I asked, like, hey, do you want to do this? You're like, yo, I already watched the entire show. And I'm like, what? Like, so I was a little... I'm curious to, like, what you thought.
Yeah.
So I'll toss it off to you.
Well, it was a long time ago when the existence of... I thought it was the actual anime at first, but it might have been the manga he mentioned. But when he had mentioned the actual topic and plot line in the chat like forever ago, I looked into it, and I was really surprised to find a very humorous story. It's like a comedy the entire time. It's not just trying to shove the boobs in your face. It dances around that and is the entire time almost making a joke and showing the realistic like things that would happen to a human body when next to these creatures that could easily kill you. And he is basically trying to avoid death almost every episode, if not every episode, at least one time, where it shows the real side of the animalistic parts of each of them. And like it was like you said, it's a really like just it's a nice story. Obviously, it's not going to be as deep as others, but I think the point was to just tell a nice, fun, lighthearted story while also being the obvious ecchi that it was. The music was really well integrated, and also finding out that the further part of it was like the soundtrack itself was sung by each of the characters because they were in turn musical voice actors. That was really interesting to find out. And like even there's the entire song list that is done, and you don't even get to hear that in the actual show. So even as a silly premise as it is, it was really nice to just be able to like watch the comedy ecchi for what it was. Like, sure, it's definitely very strange at parts, but I feel altogether that it worked for the best.
And favorite waifu of the bunch?
Mine would be the centaur, because of she seemed the most interesting, like, mental wise, and especially the opposite of the bird. Empty, like, it's like, no, I'd like to have someone to talk to rather than just a dumb bird. Literally.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think a lot of those thoughts that were presented by them reflected what I felt. Is Mclovett was talking about it, and so I popped it on Crunchyroll to take a look at it, and I'm like, the first episode starts with like Mia, the snake lady, like snuggling up to the main character, and I'm like, all right, I know where this is going. And then she starts constricting him for body heat, and I'm like, huh, that's funny. And then he almost dies, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch some more of this. This is interesting. I'm gonna see where this goes. But yeah, it was actually a surprisingly cute story, and the comedy that comes from it is more of like, yeah, like I said, like the snake constricting him or the spider catching him in a web, and yeah, it left me with some really funny moments. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I did find it quite amusing and quite a cute story. And yeah, like everyone said, the music is really good because there is the opening and closing themes, and then I'm not sure why, but the soundtrack just has 2 extra songs for each character that are not in the show at all, but sung by the voice actresses. And the voice actresses each do a version of the intro theme by themselves. And I was like, this is quite interesting. And I really enjoyed the little subplots that go on throughout the show. Like, there's this little squad of monster police officers that, just due to the plot of the show, they're in there. And their little hijinks are quite funny, too. We have the zombie girl, the ogre, the cyclops, and the doppelganger. And that just sort of adds to the cast. But yeah, it was overall, I would recommend it to everyone, and I think everyone here would recommend it to viewers if you enjoy that kind of thing. It definitely struck me as similar to Rosario Vampire, but except it's slightly different, you know. Yeah. If you enjoyed Rosario Vampire for what it was, you would probably enjoy this show as well. I'll put it that way. But yeah, and I have to say the spider is still the best one. Although the ogre from the police force is like a close second.
I say you're a heretic.
I think I'll open it up to...
Because, you know,
I know you do.
Mia's the best.
I know you say that, but no. I don't like snakes. Well, snakes are fine, but... I'll think I will open it up to open discussion. Just to talk about Mclovett. I'm not sure. Have you read any of the manga?
I haven't read the manga. I've been meaning to read the
off?
manga. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, because the manga covers season 1 and what would be like 3/4 of a season 2. So with any luck, there'll be a season 2. But yeah, if you enjoy like the hijinks of, you know, snake ladies constricting people. The next couple arcs are quite funny, where you meet the main character, like the various girls'
Oh
parents,
gosh.
Oh.
and they talk about the societies
No.
that they come from.
Oh.
It's quite good.
Has he still made his decision?
No. That Chaos, it's a harem. The decision's never going to be made.
There are some animes that
To be fair, this
end
is
with one
probably
character.
this is the closest to a harem because it literally is one that I've watched. So it's not like I've seen any others to compare it to.
But yeah, you learn some interesting things about the centaurs and the lamias and the harpies, where you're like, huh, that's fucked up.
I love this. I was like so happy with the Metal Gear reference just tossed in
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a very in-depth Metal Gear reference, not only in the show, but there's several times throughout the manga as well.
Really? There's more?
Yeah, like there's that one scene in the show where it was like Lamia's dressed up as like a colonel or something, like giving a battle plan. But in the manga, she has the Foxhound logo on her uniform.
Tough.
And, like that's a nice touch.
And that
I
episode
guess he
actually
couldn't
came out.
use it like
That
Oh,
episode.
go ahead, Mclovett. Sorry.
That episode came out the same day that Metal Gear Solid 5 came out in Japan.
Nice.
So yeah, that's pretty
Well timed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's several pop culture references throughout the show that are quite. There was like Mclovett said, there's an episode where Sue gets gigantic, and in the show and not in the manga, she gets Godzilla spines on her back, and it has like this whole like Godzilla stare off that was quite funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. And does anyone else have anything to say?
No, I think that you're just touching on the point where you said, yeah, like not only did it balance like the humor and the ecchi and the plot that they were trying to tell, but every single episode had like this is this character now and this is this character now, and they focused the attention around it. Like the I don't know, story direction is the right word for every episode was good, and then the progression through the all 10 was also very nice. It felt evenly paced when you arrived at the end of the series. Of course, they do the like cliffhanger thing, but it was a nice break, and it was a good story package altogether.
Did anybody watch after the credits for the the bios on each of the races?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
After the credits, it goes down like for instance, Mia, it goes through like she's this race, and so it's like the sub races for each of the races that they show in the show.
Yeah, for what I hear, the manga writer, he on his Twitter, he'll occasionally post like female orcs and like various like he's really into world building, which for a ecchi anime is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like he thinks it out.
The dog character that you see in the freaking background of the show, it has its own like profile in race that's like mentioned in the like one of those credit breaks.
Wait.
Yeah.
Dog character?
Yeah,
she's
a
more
dog
prominent
character,
in the
and
manga,
it's
but
like
I know
specifically highlighted. You don't interact. I don't believe they interact with her at all, but it's there.
Yeah, not in the show, but in the manga they do. She runs a gym.
Oh.
Oh, I also want to point out that if anyone wants to read the manga, Chaos mentioned that in the show they sort of tease the nudity and they never show it. In the manga, it's just flat out nudity all the time. So keep that in mind if you ever wanted to read it in a public place. I don't recommend it at all.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Would you recommend it to someone? Mclovett already recommended it to us, so.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go with suggesting it to people.
It's a lot stronger than Kill la Kill, but it's still the same principle where it's not something that you can just say, hey, everyone check this out, because on its cover, it's obviously an ecchi. But if you know that they'd be sort of interested in this sort of like in the story, or if you have more time to spell it out. Like, it's definitely something I'd recommend, but at face value, it's understandably, like, you can be understandably hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say anyone that enjoys ecchi comedy for what it is, in an almost ironic way like we do, would probably get a kick out of it. Like, if you enjoyed Rosario Vampire, you'll probably like this. Yeah. All right, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. That was Making the Rounds for this week with Monster Musume. And I can guarantee we have other stuff making the rounds in the future, so feel free to drop by again. Bye.